Hey everyone, what's up? So I just wanted to do a movie review, but you guys know my movie reviews are just as weird as the other videos I come out with. And I can admit it, these topics I do not like talking about. I really don't. And I know that it casts me into the loony bin. And I always have to say, I remember when I had friends and crap that would come to me with conspiracy theories and things like that, and how I'd always reject them. So I definitely understand why these videos don't get traction and things like that, and I don't take offense to it. Just like with my boxing content, my views were always radical, and I just remember getting my having my first like 10 subscribers, and it's grown over time and things like that. And I really don't even try to do this stuff for clicks, views, and likes. I really don't. I'll go like years and months sometimes without coming out with videos. But I saw Alien Romulus last night, and I'm one of these people that know that they use what is called predictive programming. If you're a occultist, things like that, they call it lesser magic. You know what I'm saying? And we're starting to see this theme of Romulus and Remus again, which really caught my eye. I had no idea this is what, although the name is in the title, I didn't know they were going to go this hard with the subliminals and such so many themes of siblings throughout the movie. Now, while we're on the topic of Romulus and Remus, guys, and this is going to have some spoilers, so let me just say this real quick. A very good movie. I've been a fan of Fede Alvarez. He's a very good director. He's a guy who loves practical effects, and it's funny, when you use practical effects, they have a very practical effect on the audience and the viewer. So I always find that to be a plus for directors who don't just go full-blown CGI all the time. I always think that it breaks the experience, because it's like watching a cartoon or something, a lot of these CGI films, and it just looks so stupid half the time. And Evil Dead was a very good movie. It was a very refreshing horror movie. Fede Alvarez directed that one as well, and I thought he did a very good job on that movie as well, and a lot of it had to do with him really loving practical effects. Of course, this movie does have CGI. It allows you to cut corners. We know that a lot of activists are in the movie industry, so it does do things like protect the environment when you use CGI and crap like that, but I think it really breaks the immersion. So this movie was very good in that regards. I do have to say, overall, it's another disposable film. I would give it a 7 out of 10. A lot of good things about this movie. The actors, the cyborg, again, that's depicted in this movie, very underrated role, that and how he was able to pull it off. Of course, Hollywood has to praise these mental illness type stuff, but they do this with the actual android, or whatever they call these things in the movie, replicate, whatever. I honestly don't know what they call it, but you guys know what I'm talking about. But the guy was able to pull off a very subtle, masterful performance with his execution. Being a broken down robot who was, trashed at some point, but then salvaged by the main protagonist's parents. His transitions from being incompetent to competent, like I said, they were very subtle, swift, but done very nicely. So I have to commend him. I think he was the most underrated gem in this movie. It's the black guy. What's her name? I forgot her name. She's been in a few movies. She does have good emotional range and things like that. What I do have a problem with this current group of Hollywood actors and actresses, they all look like high school kids. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's intentional, because I think they are, again, my views and my thoughts, they're always going to be radical, guys, on this stuff. But when I see patterns and when I see trends, it makes me wonder, why are they doing this? But when we talk about the Zendaya and the dude who plays Spider-Man, and the other guy that was from High School Musical, Timothy Chalamet, or whatever his name is, all these actors and actresses today, they look like little kids. And this, I forgot her name, I don't know it, I'm sorry, the main protagonist in this movie. She's falls into that group, into that same pattern. She looks like a little girl, you know what I'm saying? And this just makes me think that Hollywood is really trying to subversively push pedophilia, or, you know, some kind of something along those lines. When I watch these people try to play adults, and it's just not believable to me. Timothy Chalamet, again, he's going to be in this Bob Dylan film, and it's just weird watching a dude who looks like a high school kid. But they kind of make him gain weight for the role to make him look older. It just does not look believable to me when I watch these people and they're in serious roles and they're like children. It's like watching children trying to act like adults, which just has a weird feeling for me when I watch these movies. But with that said, again, there's, you know, people that are going to be like, whatever, you know, probably going to hate me for that. I don't care. I think they really are trying to normalize and push pedophilia in society today. Again, so there's a radical point for you. You were warned early on in this video. But the movie's good, okay? But it does have a disposable feeling once you get to the end. I feel like I don't need to watch it again. I think everything that I needed to see, I saw. There wasn't much death, although they do try to add death. You know, that's another thing with these movies today. They don't have a lasting feeling. It's like smoking a cigarette. I feel like I smoked one. There's no satisfaction, and next thing I know, I could have smoked a whole pack and, you know, never feel any kind of real satisfaction, you understand? But very good visuals, very good cinematography, things like that. He's able to mask the CG and blend it with practical effects. Like I said, this is a solid 7 out of 10 movie, but it does have that disposable feeling. It's like a Happy Meal. You know, it's not very edifying or things like that. Now back to the Romulus Remus, you know, theme that they're trying to push in this. As we know, Romulus and Remus, they were two brothers. Their mother was like a virgin priestess who had relations with a false god, Mars, who is the god of war. And we know their story. The brothers kind of typically fought each other about where they wanted to build their city. And we know that Romulus ends up slaying his brother. It has a very Cain and Abel feel to it, but it's also blended with Moses aspects. You understand, these children that at one point they were, I guess, thrown into a basket or something and floated down a river, and then a wolf took care of them. And again, I done a video on UFOs. I would suggest go watching that. This gentleman named David Flynn, he was able to blend all the world's mythology and cultures together, and how they all point to basically Satan, okay? Okay, I know that sounds crazy, but his work was really good, and he talked about how the Canaanites, the Phoenicians, had such a powerful impact on all civilizations, you know. And when you go further into it, the Canaanites also, not only were they very good merchants, they were seafaring people, but they were also merchants of idols, guys. So you see, like one of their main gods, Marduk, aka Bel, whatever you want to call him. You see the syncretism, how Greek, you know, adopted these same false gods, false idols, and you know how Rome did the same thing, and how their idolatry has kind of pretty much spread across the entire world. And you're still seeing this today when you turn on the Olympics. I just got criticized the other day. I know I don't go Barney Rubble, but I always tell people to start doing research, and then you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. But none of these gods, like Zeus, for example, he's just Bel reskinned, you understand? And even the comic book heroes that you watch today, they're really just reskins of these older gods that were introduced in other cultures and civilizations back in the day. You know, you can tie the similarities and things. Some of them are blatant, like Thor, you know, where, you know, he is listed as a god, and people did actually used to worship this guy. But if you do your research, you'd be quite surprised that Hollywood basically can't make nothing new at all. And quite frankly, all they can do is literally remask, reskin. Now let's get back to Romulus and Remus. Another thing that shocked me, again, we talked about how they were in a basket and then they were raised by a wolf, and then the shepherd comes and ends up taking care of these. But of course, it kind of then transitions into a Cain and Abel type story, with Cain basically doing the same thing. He essentially slew his brother, but then we come to find out that he ends up building a city, which is just insane. You know, as you read the Bible, and the Bible just tells you this, like, with no kind of warning or nothing, you know, especially after, you know, the curse that the Lord our God put on him. But that's neither here nor there. I always get into these arguments with people in my comment section trying to denounce the Bible, but I believe that the enemy has always copied the Bible. And this is just another example. Another thing, Mufasa that's coming out. This was a preview that was shown before the movie Alien Romulus. Same concepts. I guess it's Scar that comes into a basket down a river, and they don't know if they should take care of him or not. So you're seeing this Romulus Remus narrative that's even implemented into a Disney film involving Lion King. And in this case, it's a prequel starring Mufasa and Star. And, you know, the movie they show, they have a good relationship and things like that. But of course, we come to know by the end of the movie that something's going to happen, and there's going to be a schism there between those two. But it seems like a lighthearted movie and things like that at first. But again, we have this Romulus Remus type theme again in a Disney movie, Mufasa. And again, this guy comes down a basket just like Romulus and Remus, but also just like Moses, by the way. But anyhow, you guys, I could just ramble forever. I'm very sorry. We also have the theme of the black goo again. So they implemented Prometheus, and really this movie, again, it brings some nostalgia and things like that, but it's really just like an Alien's Greatest Hits movie, if that makes any sense. It even kind of bit off of Resurrection, but then tried to also fuse that with Prometheus as well. A lot of people, they didn't like Prometheus, and Alien Covenant was terrible, so I'm not going to argue with anyone there about that movie. But again, I think the android and the main protagonist, they worked good, but they're siblings, you understand? And they're not the only sibling that's featured in this movie, you understand? You have I don't know if this guy was an ex-fling of the main protagonist or what, but his sister is pregnant. This is another trend and thing that I'm noticing with Hollywood, whether it's House of Dragon, whatever else. They're really trying to paint pregnancy very badly, you know, that it's a bad thing. And you know, they're really trying to still push those type of innuendos in these movies as well. They don't want women to have babies. Again, they're anti-family. Although we see that Kamala is now pro-family all of a sudden, and she's basically copying off J.D. Vance's stance on the child credit. That's neither here nor there. But like I said, this is going to involve spoilers, but spoilers in a weirdo sense, because again, I just, you know, I do a lot of research and I kind of look at the thing that the movie's actually trying to tell you. The movie also pushes the globalist agenda. It talks about how man is not built to survive, and that the evolution process is too slow. So this is where also the black goo comes in. The movie starts off as, you know, these people, these young children, well, they're not children, but these young people, they realize that they're stuck on this planet. They're never going to get off, and all their parents are being killed because it's a mining colony. And we see very early on in the movie that this woman, the main protagonist, she realizes that she's stuck. She served her term, you understand, and now she's trying to go to a different planet that has a sun and things like that. Because on this planet, there's no sunlight. The environment, everything's toxic. And this is why, you know, majority of their parents are being killed by poisoning and things like that. It's a very harsh condition to live in. And these people are just slaves, you know, meant to work out till they die for the most part. But regardless of that, the globalist agenda is quite real in this movie. They're trying to really push it the point across that, you know, we're going to need assistance, whether that's with technology or whether that's with science when it comes to just messing with people's DNA and things like that. But also, the movie is honest in its approach that typically men, at best, at the end of the day, can only push an abomination, and quite frankly, it's a lost cause. Going back to the Remus Romulus situation, they also showed a picture where, I don't know, there's like famine or something else, and then they show a baby suckling its mom's breast, you understand, during this famine, but they're all basically going to die sooner or later. So again, it's more of that globalist agenda as well. So the whole point of this ship that you see early on, yeah, the ship is from the 1979 film Alien that Ridley Scott directed. I don't know what's happened to Ridley Scott. He's been getting worse and worse as he's getting older. I don't know what his issue is. Prometheus, I thought, was actually a very good movie. It was very thought-provoking and things like that. But of course, pushes Gnostic themes, especially the theme that we came here from aliens, and it feeds all into that ancient alien type stuff. But we are seeing today that a lot of people are wising up. Even those that are part of the UFO community will tell you, if they're honest, that esoteric practices, pagan type religions, there's more activity involved, UFO sightings and stuff like that, when those type of things rise. And you'll see that that's actually quite consistent with today. We're pushing a lot of pagan type ideas, beliefs and values. Beliefs and values in this country, and again, there is a correlation with that type of stuff and UFO activity. Again, this is a secret that a lot of the people from the UFO community don't want to admit. I hate that I know this stuff and I'm able just to talk on this, but it's just so crazy, you know. Maybe I'll get into why I do this, but anyhow, getting back to the movie and basically the lesser magic, the predictive programming that it wants to enforce. We do know that there are organizations such as the WHO and the WEF. They're into transhumanism, and they're greatly into basically something and concepts that aren't new, but eugenics play a perfect part of what it is that they want to do. And we've seen this in the past with the Nazi regime. They're all about eugenics, and we see that eugenics are a big part of the American system today. Abortion is a very big business, you know, and people, they think this transgenderism and these laws that they're starting to push, where some states are implementing, if you don't affirm your child's gender and crap like that, you know, the state or whoever basically has a right to take your kids from you. We're moving more towards a pagan type governmental system where basically it makes the state God, you understand, and the state owns everything. It owns your children, it owns what you can even think about, your freedom of speech and everything else. And you see they're kind of hiding behind the guise of health and safety, you understand, but also if you offend people, so your free speech, everything's being attacked. And we mentioned the Canaanites earlier. Again, they had a system. You know, what this does secular wise in the secular world, you come to the realization that basically, you know, it's the movement, it's the government, it's the state that's most important above all, and that even means over individual rights. They too, just like the Nazi Germany's, we just talked about eugenics, things like that. You know, today they're having people you know, brainwashed to the point where it's normal to not only kill kids, which is infanticide, another concept that's not new, especially in pagan civilizations, human sacrifice, again, but to even mutilate your children, chemically castrate them, get them to cut off their members and do some other extreme things. And people, you know, they're really getting wrapped up into, well, it's a woman's right and all this type of crap. They're falling for this nonsense. But in the future, you know, today we're killing kids again, even to the point where now some states radically want to do it after the child's born. You know, when the child's born, you have the, you know, some states want to implement the rhetoric where you have the choice if you want them to be killed right then and there, or not even in the womb anymore. And you need to understand, the chemically castrating these children, and again, mutilating them by cutting off their members and things like that, it's what's going to be the next point once we reach that level. And you got to understand, you know, maybe that's going to involve some type of experimentation on your children. You understand? What if they want to put a chip in your child? What if they want to manipulate your child's DNA? And you'll be powerless to even have a opinion about it. You know what I'm saying? More by more, we're seeing that this stuff is being implemented. It's becoming a reality. This world is becoming a science fiction world. And again, with the COVID vaccine, you know, we see that it tries to change. It implements a blueprint. You see what I'm saying? And there's a reason why you're also seeing, and we saw this during the COVID epidemic, that if you wanted to work and do things, you actually had to be vaccinated. You were forced to take this stuff. This is how drastic they were trying to get. You know what I'm saying? We're not too far off from this type of future, you know? And like I said, they've implemented this in the movies to try to get people, I guess, somewhat normalized to it. It's not such a crazy thing anymore. And Alien Romulus, you know, it does its part. Now, the thing about predictive programming or lesser magic, according to the cultists, as long as they tell you the truth, you know, they're not in the wrong. So what does happen to you is basically your own fault. You can't cry and complain about it later. It's kind of a weird concept, but the enemy tends to rely a lot on legalism and things like that. So again, I know I brought up Kamala earlier, but she does stand for this type of stuff, and they are operating out of an influence that, you know, you'll see that the WEF and the WHO, the WHO, and then they really push these same type of ideas that we see people like Kamala and Tim Walz push, you know. I know this was one big long ramble, you know what I'm saying? And I know I was all over the place as well, but these little pictures, they're not innocent. It's just like the music you listen to. XXXTentacion, again, even admitted that when they make these movies, the vibrations and things like that, it is to, you know, basically put magic on you. We see people like Taylor Swift, we see people like Beyonce, you know, these people are blatantly putting this stuff right here in front of your face, guys. I am gonna get called a radical conspiracy theorist again, but I just gotta warn you guys, I don't know what the next pandemic is going to be. Right now in the news, it's circulating about monkeypox and whatever else. You know, these people, they've been drafting this this type of legal language and things, and they've been passing it off maybe as this, you understand, transgenderism. Title IX just got shot down today, where they would have, you know, is really attacking children, but they were trying to implement men in female sports, things like that. You know, that's what the news is going to tell you. They're not going to get deep into it, you understand? But you guys, you have to be alert and aware of what the enemy's trying to do today. And they're putting it right there in front of your face, what they intend to do. A Moonchild, which is what Aleister Crowley called it, a Übermensch, which is what Hitler and the Nazi regime called it. They're all trying to create the most perfect being. One of the main themes that the Alien franchises try to push, especially in this newest movie, Romulus, is this alien, it's the perfect being. It's practically immortal, is what the movie, you know, tries to explain to you. Can even survive being thrust out into space and things like that. The main protagonist does say, well, nothing is truly immortal. You know what I'm saying? They have to be honest with you with the messaging that they are trying to, you know, kind of brainwash you with, and again, kind of lower your senses down while you're watching these movies and things like that. But these are realities, guys. Again, they're doing a lot. CRISPR, is it CRISPR-19? I can't remember. But it's like CRISPR gene editing, but they really are getting into this stuff. Eugenics definitely plays a part in it, and the manipulation of human DNA is part of it. They, once again, have a Gnostic belief that man is basically not good where he's at. And in fact, you know, evolution, just like what this alien Romulus is trying to push, it's moving too slow and man is just too weak. You know, man is going to need to turn to technology once again, even further DNA manipulation and things like that. So again, the world is little by little becoming science fiction, you know, and I think they really use these movies to try to lull people's senses about this stuff and alertness, you know. But that is my thoughts on this movie. I didn't give away too many spoilers. If you've seen all the alien movies, you've already seen this movie. Like I said, it's the greatest hits. This is just a fair warning for people. You know, you've already seen what they did during the COVID pandemic again, shutting everything down, telling you can't do this, you can't go in large crowds, you have to wear a mask, whatever else. But also, if you want to work, you have to get vaccinated, stuff like that. I think it was a preview of what these people truly are trying to do. And again, you people just got to be watchful, and I hope the best for you. I hope God blesses you all, protects you. You understand? Again, there's no reason to fear these people. You know, it's one thing to fear Goliath, okay? But Goliath is nothing. With the Lord backing us up, I'm trying to tell you, these people are nothing. There's nothing to fear, guys. There really is not. You know, I'm going to state once again, get into your Bibles. Become acquainted with the true Lord. That is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And the God of the Old Testament is the same as the God of the New Testament. It's Jesus Christ, guys. Okay? I know that's crazy, and a lot of people don't believe that, especially when people don't read their Bibles and just see what's there in the Old Testament, you know. But I'm trying to tell you, these things, they stand no chance. You know, the Lord tells us to not put your faith in chariots or in men or whatever else. You know, guns, whatever else, man, that stuff is nothing compared to the Lord our God. Whatever these people try to do, you understand, they will get outright obliterated. Some of us may be killed in this process. If it does come within our times, I just do not know. You know what I'm saying? I've not been given that type of sight to be able to predict things on that level. But this stuff is becoming a reality, and we're starting to see it right in front of your face. And you guys need to be watchful. You understand? You got to stay alert, okay? I will talk to you later. Bye.